Daredevil Season 3 is almost here, but what if you haven't watched the other shows or the other seasons? And that's what we're here for. It's your boy Leo Rydell here with Geekly Goods to catch you up for Season 3 with everything you need to know about Daredevil. So let's dive right in. Let's back up to the beginning. Daredevil Season 1 premiered in 2015 with Charlie Cox and started the Marvel Netflix universe. Quick note, this universe does tie in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A 9-year-old named Matt Murdock tried to save a man from a moving truck. A barrel of toxic waste exploded in Matt's eyes, blinding him but enhancing his other senses to superhuman levels. That same night, Matt's father was murdered after he ruined a bet with the Irish Mafia. God, this guy's having a hard time. Matt was sent to an orphanage for the rest of his young years. For a while, he struggled with his superhuman senses, but he met a man named Stick to help him out with that. More on Stick is coming up later. Let's flip to an equally important childhood, though. A young boy named Wilson Fisk was the subject of abuse and violence from his father, Bill. Bill would frequently make Wilson face the wall while he beat his mother, Marlene. One day, Wilson had enough. While Bill was beating his mother, Wilson killed his father, repeatedly beating him with a hammer. Alright, hold on. Let's speed things up a little and go back to our main man, Matt Murdock. Years later, after the Battle of Manhattan is won by the Avengers, Hell's Kitchen suffers. Crime syndicates are everywhere, and Matt and his best friend Foggy Nelson start the firm Nelson and Murdock to combat the rising violence. After a little sniffing around, they find their first client, Karen Page. She was framed for murder by the shady company Union Allied, a company fronting to be construction so they can deal in illegal drugs and money laundering. Who's the head of this company, you ask? None other than Wilson Fisk himself, aka the Kingpin. Union Allied attacked Karen when they found out she was seeking legal help, but Matt Murdock, dressed in all black, uses martial arts skills to fight off the thug. After the rescue, Karen was grateful for Foggy and Matt's legal help, and she joined them at the firm, forming a bond between the three of them. Throughout the rest of the first season, Matt continues to fight off more of Fisk's goons, and papers begin publishing news about a masked vigilante called the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. He gets wrapped up with the Russian Mafia, and after a near-fatal encounter, he meets Claire Temple, a nurse. With her help, he was able to heal and keep fighting crime, eventually taking down the Russian Mafia. And they had some weird romance thing going on. I don't know about that. I like her a lot more with Luke Cage, but more on that in another video. On the other end, Karen and Foggy work with journalist Ben Urich to build a case against Wilson Fisk, and Matt begins taking down his partners. First, Matt goes looking for Fisk's associate Leland Owsley and finds him, but is interrupted by Stick, his mentor from childhood. Come on, Stick! Stick needs help in taking down the Black Sky, a child who is also called the Black Sky, which is someone chosen to lead the powerful clan called the Hand. More on that later, but it's still quite confusing to be honest with you. Next up, Matt tracks down and seemingly kills Yakuza leader Nobu in an epic ninja-field showdown. Nobu is another one of Fisk's guys. Before Nobu can be permanently silenced, the scuffle is interrupted by Fisk, who easily beats an already scraped up Matt Murdock. Matt luckily escapes and passes out in the middle of the floor, only for Foggy to find him later and figure out his best friend, Matt, is the man behind the mask.
Matt?
In between all this, Wilson Fisk meets and courts a woman named Vanessa. When does he even have the time? After a bit of grief and mistrust, Foggy and Matt continue to be friends after the reveal. Matt figures out that Fisk has lightweight armor and pursues his own and tracks down the exact same guy that made Wilson's. With the Russian Mafia and the Yakuza out of the way, all that's left is one more faction, the Chinese. The Chinese, led by Madame Gao, distribute drugs around the city, and Matt successfully stops them pretty quickly, but doesn't beat Gao himself. Fisk tracks down journalist Ben Urich and kills him for publishing an article on the wrongdoings of his company. Later, Fisk kills Leland Owsley for attempting to kill off his love, Vanessa. I mean, God, this guy is ruthless. But Fisk is too late because Matt, Karen, and Foggy have come up with enough evidence for Fisk to be imprisoned. Matt receives his armor and becomes known to Hell's Kitchen as the Daredevil. After one final battle, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, is defeated. For now. Fast forward a year later, and Matt's been fighting crime on the rooftops of Hell's Kitchen like it's his part-time job. Nelson and Murdock have more clients, but the people don't necessarily want to pay. Meanwhile, Grotto, a shady Irish gangster, is the last survivor after a bloody battle. He seeks out Nelson and Murdock's help, and they reluctantly do so, but little do they know, the man hunting them is a one-man killing machine who calls himself the Punisher. Matt desperately searches the Hell's Kitchen for the Punisher, another defender of the city who takes to killing, unlike Daredevil. Punisher runs into Karen and Grotto and almost succeeds in killing Grotto before being interrupted by Daredevil. A battle ensues but ends quickly when the Punisher pulls the trigger and puts a bullet in Daredevil's mask. After nearly losing his hearing, Matt gets his mask repaired and goes looking for the Punisher again, as if that's a good idea. He stumbles upon a biker gang, the Dogs of Hell, who are sniffing for vengeance after a member is killed. Enter District Attorney Reyes, a woman running for mayor who's pretty dirty in her own right. She uses Grotto, the Irish gangster, and instead of investigating his past, she uses Grotto as bait to get the Punisher out. The Punisher is lured out, but is ready for traps and bests Daredevil a second time. He chains Matt to a chimney on the roof and taunts him a little bit before taping a gun to his hand, claiming that Daredevil can either kill him or Grotto.
If you don't kill me first.
Daredevil uses the bullet to escape the chains, but Grotto is shot and killed, and the Dogs of Hell race to the building to Daredevil. After this, guys, one of the most epic battles happens. Daredevil takes down the entire gang on his own throughout the building. Probably about 5 minutes of pure badassery here. Later, the investigation behind the Punisher leads Karen and Feige to discover his real name, Frank Castle. His background is explored for a little while, and we learn about the deaths of his 2 kids and his wife, along with his past as a decorated Marine. Meanwhile, a new Irish gang leader named Finn Cooley is out to get Frank for murdering the gang members earlier in the season. He kidnaps and tortures Frank, who eventually breaks free and blows his head off with a shotgun. Dramatic, but God, it's awesome. Daredevil and the Punisher then take down the Irish, and after telling Daredevil about his family's past, Frank is put into custody. On the Matt Murdock side of things, Matt and Karen form a relationship, which is a little bit awkward for Feige, who had a thing for Karen in season 1. Matt finally starts to find a delicate balance between work, home, and vigilante life, and everything seems good until he comes home to a surprise. His ex-girlfriend from college, Elektra Nachos, I know it kind of sounds like nachos, is waiting for him to get there.
Hello, Matthew.
I won't bore you with the dirty details of their past, but let's just say she wasn't too good for Matt. Elektra recruits Matt to help investigate a secret order of ancient ninjas known as the Hand and the Black Sky, someone chosen to lead them to the prosperity and true power, whatever that might be. And I told you guys I would come back to that. While working with Elektra, Matt discovers that Nobu, the leader of the Japanese, is still alive, and Elektra is working with Stick, and they're all at war with the Hand. To make matters worse, Matt begins falling for Elektra again, and Karen discovers her recovering from a battle in Matt's bed, putting Karen to an end. Let's change the subject a little bit and get back to the Punisher. Matt comes to Frank's defense through Nelson and Murdock, but being a vigilante stops Matt from helping, so Karen and Feige pick up the slack. They come with an elaborate plan to get Frank a better sentence, but days before, Frank throws the trial by snapping and admits he's guilty. Frank is taken to prison, and in the yard he meets with the man responsible for throwing the trial, Kingpin. Yep, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. Kingpin, attempting to take over the prison, tricks Frank into killing his rival. He tells Frank that the man he's looking for is called the Blacksmith. After killing Kingpin's rival, Frank is surrounded by other prisoners who are then slaughtered in one of the best and most amazing killing scenes in all of television. Frank escapes, and to Kingpin's delight, he's back outside the walls. A man is running around killing people pretending to be the Punisher. One victim is District Attorney Reyes. Karen discovers it's Frank's commander-in-war, Colonel Ray Schoonover, and before he gets to kill Karen, Frank saves her. Frank becomes the Punisher once again. Daredevil discovers the Hand are using children's blood to create magic that revives people. Kinda weird, right? This is how they brought Nobu back to life. After Matt and Elektra have a falling out, she's ready to leave New York, but an assassin was sent to kill her. She discovers later that the assassin was sent by Stick himself. Turns out, Elektra is actually the new Black Sky. The Hand attempts to recruit her, but Daredevil convinces her to stay on the good guy's side. Her, Stick, and Daredevil take on the Hand together. But in the ensuing battle, Elektra is killed by Nobu, who is then killed by a Stick. A little bit confusing, right? Well, this wraps up season 1 and 2 of Daredevil. Foggy and Matt dismantle Nelson and Murdock, and Foggy goes to Hogarth, Chow, and Benowitz, tying Jessica Jones's Jerry into the mix. Matt invites Karen to the office for one final meeting. He takes off a mask and reveals his secret.
I'm Daredevil.
Fast forward to what I'm assuming is probably a couple months later, you have the Defenders. But let's keep this in mind, guys. We're following Daredevil's story for now, so while we do have a story full of 4 characters, focusing specifically on Daredevil. Alright, let's dive back in. 4 street defenders across New York unite for one purpose: defeating the Hand. The Hand reveals their 5 fingers, aka the leaders of the clan, whose lives have been passed down for centuries upon centuries to present day. The leader of the clan, Alexandra, successfully revives Elektra Nachios to kill. A mentally manipulated Elektra eventually kills the leader. The group discovers Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist's power, and that the Hand originally created to destroy an ancient relic. Because of this, other members of the group, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil, join together to defend him. Matt and Jessica investigate the Hand while Luke Cage and Stick watch over Danny. After Matt and Jessica Jones find plans of tunnels beneath a central building called the Midland Circle, they reunite with the Defenders only to be attacked by Elektra. Elektra kills Stick, defeats the Defenders, and kidnaps Danny Rand. In a final battle in the tunnels beneath Midland Circle, the Defenders defeat Elektra and the Hand once and for all. Allies set explosives to collapse the cave under the buildings. The team makes their escape except for Matt Murdock, who tries to convince Elektra one last time, join the good side. He's unsuccessful and the cave collapses. Matt is presumed dead, but later awakens in the care of nuns and dip to black. Woo! Woo-wee! Was that enough for you guys? Glad I could help you catch up. This was everything you need to know about Daredevil before season 3. Daredevil Season 3 hits Netflix October 19th. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Geekly Goods on all social media platforms, and grab something from our store. We take $1 of every purchase and donate it to arts education to keep arts in the classrooms. We'll see you next time.